Alrighty guys, let me get straight to the point here. I'm going to give you our own data tracking agency template sheets that we're using inside of our own $200,000 a month agency. I'll get my editor Tom to throw in a few Stripe screenshots here so you can see the proof. So you can just literally copy the link in the description and use them for your own agency. It doesn't matter what niche you're in, what your outreach process is. You guys can take this and you guys can apply it to your business. If you don't have a 30% higher pickup rate, here are a couple things that you can do that will increase your pickup rates as of tomorrow. You can put in how many calls did you have scheduled today, how many calls taken today, and this will automatically calculate your show rate. You just need to get better at cold calling. You just need to get better at tonality, and probably the biggest lever that you can pull in your cold calling appointment conversion percentage is. Now, you might be wondering why you need these data tracking sheets, and that is exactly what I used to think too. See, last year, I found myself in a position where I was doing all right, but I was stuck. And every single day I was waking up and I was working on thing after thing after thing. I was working all day long, but we weren't ever growing. And in addition to that, we were running into problems like not many leads or not many appointments or not many sales. And it seemed like every time I would try and fix it, I would never actually be able to fix it. And as a result, I stayed stuck. And then I actually read a book called Traction, How to Get a Grip on Your Business. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you take a couple of days to read that book because it transformed my life. And the one key concept that I got from that book was the importance of tracking data. And in that book, it says building a company without data is like driving at night with your eyes closed. You might have your foot on the gas, but you have absolutely no idea where to go. You don't know when to turn left. You don't know when to turn right. You don't know when to turn around. And as a result, you're going to end up crashing. And so once I realized that, I began to track data for every single individual step of our client acquisition and even client fulfillment processes. And what it revealed to us was exactly the problems that we were having in our company. It might have not been that we just weren't getting leads, but the fact that we had a very low lead to booked a call appointment, but the fact that maybe we had a very low open rate on our cold emails, or our open rates were great, but we weren't converting interested leads into booked appointments. And when we could see the data, we could pinpoint the exact problem inside the agency, and we could begin to test and optimize to solve that specific problem, which ultimately resulted in a high converting outreach process, a high converting client acquisition process, and a highly successful client fulfillment process, which has led us to where we are today. So gonna stop yapping here, gonna pull up my screen share because I'm gonna show you how the sheet works, and then I'm gonna show you also the KPIs it tracks. And I'm also gonna give you guys insights as to how to optimize each individual KPI. So you can save this video, you can rewatch it a couple times, you can transcribe the video and use it as an SOP into your business. Okay, so we got two tracking templates that I'm gonna share with you guys here. One is for cold calls specifically, and the other one here is for any form of outreach, whether it be cold Facebook DMs, cold Instagram DMs, or even cold emails as well. Paid ads, you can pretty much do that in Facebook Ads Manager or Google Ads Manager itself. So I'm going to focus on these ones for you guys because these are the exact ones that we have been using inside of our company. So all you can do here is you can come in here and you can simply put how many dials you put in a day, how many pickups you got. Let's say you got 29 pickups. Of the people that picked up the phone, how many of them did you get through the first 10, 15, 20 seconds of the call and were actually able to get into your pitch? Let's say, for example, it was 20% or 20 of those. And then of the people that you pitched, how many appointments did you set? Let's say we set 3 appointments, which means it'll auto calculate here. Our appointment percentage, meaning how many dials we make to how many appointments we booked, is 3%. And our pickup to appointment percentage is 10.34%. Now, if we scroll down to the bottom, another thing that I've added for you guys is the KPIs that we use to book over 100 appointments a month just through cold email alone in one of the agencies that we're running right now. And so basically what I want to show you guys here is how you can optimize each individual one of these KPIs so you can hit the ultimate goal of a 5% meeting book rate for every 100 dials that you make. Okay, so the first thing is the pickup rate. Now you should actually go for a 30% or higher pickup rate. And if you don't have a 30% higher pickup rate, here are a couple things that you can do that will increase your pickup rates as of tomorrow. The first thing is dialing leads between 8 to 9 a.m. or between 4 to 5 p.m. Because if you call people in the middle of the day, when they're in the middle of the work and they have a bunch of stuff going on, they're going to be much less likely to actually want to give you the time of day, to actually give you attention. But if you call them before they've started working, or if they've just kind of settled down into work and haven't really gotten into it, they're going to be more likely to actually have that conversation with you. And second, if you call them at 4 to 5 p.m., they're also going to be more likely to have that conversation with you because there's a good chance they're at that phase of the day where they're already kind of done everything and they're kind of just like coasting to the end, and they're easily distracted because their brain's a little bit burnt out and fatigued. So our bread and butter was actually that 4 to 5 p.m. time zone. But if you're scaling your cold call operations and you want to get 1,000+ dials a day, you're probably going to need to be calling between 8 and 9 and that 4 to 5 p.m. time zone. Now, the second lever that you can pull with your pickup rates is to sort your phone numbers, sort your lead list by area codes so you can identify what time zone people are in, and you can make sure that you're dialing all the people in Eastern time zone between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern, all the people in Pacific time zone between 8 and 9 a.m. Pacific. And what I'm actually going to do for you is I'm going to add a bonus to the sheet right now where you guys can actually input your lead list and it'll automatically categorize which time zone they're in. All right, so here we have it. I'm going to add this to the sheet so you guys can take this and you guys can use it for your own agency. But simply how it works is there's a data board. Do not touch this, do not touch this, do not touch this. And I'm serious about that. Now, the second thing here is what's going to happen is anytime you you paste all your phone numbers, what it's going to do is this sheet is automatically going to read what the first three numbers in the phone number are, and it's going to cross-reference it with this sheet to tell you what time zone they're in. So let's say if it's, I'm just going to put 3 random numbers in here. This is a Pacific time zone. And you can go through here, you can paste all your different phone numbers, and it'll automatically calculate which time zone that they're in. And then what you can do is you can come up here and you can add a filter to this column. And what it'll do is it'll automatically put all the CST ones together, all the EST ones together, all the MST ones together, and all the PST ones together. And then you can just take those lists, load them into your CRM, and then make sure that you dial them all, maybe add a tag as to what time zone that they're in, and make sure that you dial them all during 8 to 9 a.m. or 4 to 5 p.m. in their respective time zone. Now, the last tip that I'll give you in order to increase your pickup rates is to make sure that you're dialing cell phone numbers. Office numbers have a significantly less pickup rate, and that's just the natural way of business. And in addition to that, a lot of times you're going to get gatekeepers. You can use software such as clearoutphone.io, where you can load your lead list into it, and it'll automatically spit out which ones are cell phone numbers and which ones are landline numbers. And ideally, if you have enough, you want to just be calling cell phone numbers because they're going to have a much higher pickup rate. All right, so now maybe we've gone through this and we've noticed that our pickup rate is low, but we started calling between 4 and 5 p.m. We sorted people by time zone and we made sure that we're calling cell phone numbers. And so our pickup rate has gone up to, let's say, 35, 40%. And we know that pickup rate isn't the problem. The next problem is the pitch. That's the next thing that we look at. And realistically with this, we want to be getting through the pitch at least 40% of the time if we're going to want to hit our 5 appointments for every 100 dials that we make. And if our KPI is less than 40%, well, then we know that we have an opener problem, right? The problem is either our tonality or what we're saying in that first 10 to 15 seconds of the call. And so in that case, you can, consult with other people. You can do research into, current openers that are working in today's market. You could join our free school community and post your opener, and I can come in there and revise it for you, because that is going to be the biggest bottleneck in your cold calling process. And that's going to be what we're going to want to look at to optimize in order to increase our pitch percentage. Now, let's say we've gotten our pitch percentage up over 40%, just like it is here, but we're not booking as many appointments. Right? Well, if we're not booking as many appointments, we know that it's not the pickup rate in this case. We know it's not the opener in this case. We know it's how we're pitching and how we're conducting the rest of the cold call, right? And so in this case, some of the biggest levers to pull are the offers that you're making, maybe split testing new offers or different ways of presenting your offers on the call. Or a lot of the time, and I hate to be the kind of the bearer of bad news, you just need to get better at cold calling. You just need to get better at tonality, and probably the biggest lever that you can pull in your cold calling appointment conversion percentage is to actually understand the niche that you're in. If you're in med spas, if you're in gyms, if you're in mortgage, doesn't matter the niche. If you actually become an expert in that field and you can speak with them on the same language and you can understand their terminologies, you understand their slang, they're going to automatically perceive you as to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, which is going to increase the likelihood that they're actually going to give you the time of day and increase the percentage of them actually booking an appointment with you. Okay, so that is the cold call tracking sheet. Now I'm going to get into the outreach tracking sheet. Now, one thing I'll be very open with you guys right now, these KPIs are different per platform, right? So first thing that I would do is this is a general tracking sheet that I wanted to give to you guys. So it doesn't matter what niche you're in, what your outreach process is, you guys can take this and you guys can apply it to your business, but take these KPIs with a grain of salt, because it may not be the ones that are super relevant to your outreach method. But let me break this down step by step. So the first one is, how many new prospects did we contact? If you're doing something like email, that doesn't include follow-ups, that doesn't include anything like that. It's only like how many new people did we contact? Of the new people that we contacted, how many responses did we get in total? And what's our response rate? So this is more for a cold DM, cold email approach, where you're going to get like a 30 to 40% response rate. If you're in cold email, you might be getting a 5 to 10% response rate. But if we know that we're contacting enough people, but we're not getting enough responses, well, the problem is in the opener, right? So if it's cold DMs, we might need a better hook message. If it's cold email, we might need a better offer, or we might need a better CTA. And then of that, how many leads are we getting? So in this case, let's say it's cold DMs. We got 40 responses, but only 10 of them are actually interested. In cold email, this could also be translated to positive reply rate. If we have a very low contact to lead rate, which means that we're getting a lot of leads, or we're getting a lot of responses, but we're not actually turning them into interested people, we know again that it's probably the same issues that we're having with the first one. Either the offer is not relevant, the CTA is too strong, they've heard that before, and we need to find a new way to position ourselves. From there, this is how many discovery calls did we make. So of the leads that we got, how many of them did we call up? And from here, how many of them answered? And if we're not having high pickup rates where they're answered, ideally we want this to be as high as possible. We can revisit the cold call tracking sheet to make sure that we're calling at the right times, making sure that we're calling phone numbers, and making sure that we're sorting by time zone so we can, again, call at the right times. Second thing here is the demo booked. And from here, we want to see, of the people that we've reached out to, then we called them up, then they answered. Of the people that answered, how many of them actually booked? And if we have less than a 33% conversion rate on that, we know that the issue is in the discovery call. We know the issue is that how we're talking, our tonality, how much of an expert we appear to the prospect, or if we've just flat out putting in enough reps to become good at setting appointments over the phone. The next thing here, this is a little bit to track your sales tracking and your overall ROI with your outreach progress, but you can put in how many calls did you have scheduled today, how many calls taken today, and this will automatically calculate your show rate. If you have a low show rate, you know that the problem is from between after you've set the appointment and from the point that they showed up to the call. I know a lot of you guys have been struggling with show rates, so I'm actually going to come up with a video on how you guys can increase your show rates from your cold outreach processes. So make sure to subscribe if you want to stay updated with that. And the next thing here is units, which is basically how many people did you close, what your closing percentage is, how much revenue, and how much cash that you created. So you can see the overall ROI of your cold outreach process. Alrighty guys, so that was it. I hope you enjoyed these free agency tracking templates that we're personally using in our own agency. I hope you can steal them and use them for your own agency so you can scale with data, scale smart, you can work smarter instead of just trying to work hard and ultimately reach your goals. Now, if you want free mentoring, free coaching from me, it's application only, but you can apply to join my free community. It's 100% free, but we do accept people on an application basis. And inside of there, you'll get all of the free courses that I've ever made. You'll get 2 weekly calls with me where you can ask me any question and I'll personally respond to you. You can share your outreach scripts, you can share your ads, you can do whatever you want. I'll be on there for an hour to help you out. Other than that, I hope you guys got 10x the value in comparison to the time that you spent watching this video. I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.